Yesterday marked the first anniversary of when at least 27 people drowned in the Channel after the dinghy they were in capsized. But despite the dangers of those small boat crossings, they're still continuing at an alarming pace, with many seeking to start a new life in Britain. So what can be done to tackle the issue? Let's talk to Steve Valdez-Simmons, who's now the Refugee and Asylum Rights Director at Amnesty International UK. Steve, it's a sombre day. It's the first anniversary of that disaster, effectively, when at least 27 people died. Nothing really seems, though, to have changed.
I think you're right. Nothing has changed. There was lots of talk at the time from several governments, including on both sides of the Channel, about just what a tragedy it was and how unacceptable it was. But the policies of everybody involved have essentially only ratcheted up in exactly the same direction, leaving the people who are affected by all of this in the same miserable circumstances, with the same lack of choices, and making the same desperate journeys, all exploited, as we all know, by criminal gangs who are thriving off human misery.
The Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, she used deliberately emotive language to describe what's been happening across the Channel. She's talked about an invasion.
Well, yes, she has. Politicians have done that in the past. None of it helps at all to calm any attitudes around this. None of it helps focus on what's really at stake. There are people in desperate need who clearly are not safe in northern France. Many of them have clear connections in this country, and several of them have thoroughly good asylum claims to make. Now, unless we and the French will get together and take our share of responsibilities, unfortunately, this whole mess will continue to be controlled by criminal gangs, and tragedies like this are bound to be repeated.
Steve, let me challenge you on what you just said there about some of these people not being safe in northern France. At least 40,000 people have crossed the Channel this year. We've got about 40,000 people in hotels. Why were those people in such peril in France? It's a safe country. It's part of the European Union. What danger were they possibly in?
Well, you can go to northern France and you can see the absolute squalor, homelessness and violence, including from the French police, including funded by this country, frankly, which is what people receive. Many people cannot get safely into an asylum system in northern France, and many people have good reason to want to be safe with their families and other friends and connections in this country.
So you're accusing the French police... Hang on, you're accusing the French police of brutality?
Sorry?
You're accusing the French police of brutality?
I am doing that, yes, it's well documented. I'm sorry to say that the treatment of the people that we are discussing has been appalling by all governments concerned. And so people are left with little choice but to make these particular journeys. I recognise that France, for a very long time, continues to receive many, many more people safely into its asylum system than does this country. But I'm sorry to say there are a proportion of people in northern France who make these journeys who have no safety in France, and many of them have good reason and entitlement, by the way, to seek asylum in this country.